Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. And, of course, the Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget to listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. The Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Simply take your device to play the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan. You know, this Zeke Elliott deal, this Jared Goff deal, it's really got a lot of people seriously gassed up. A little too gassed up, don't you think? Look, nobody devalued anybody or any position with any amount of money that was paid to anyone for anything other than what I have talked about several times over, and that is the value of an athlete is that of what it is to that organization at that time. Jared Goff, for instance, has found himself in the right position at the right time. A time where, to be honest with you, I have said from the get-go that football team, much like many people believe the Dallas Cowboys are predicated upon what Todd Gurley can do. Now, there are a select group of people out there that believe that I am a full-blown moron and I have no idea what I'm talking about, and Jared Goff is the proof. Or pardon me, Jared Goff is the guy going forward in that organization. And that this contract is nothing more than full proof that I am a full-on idiot, which is fine. I can take that. But I personally believe that Jared Goff's worth is what he is to the organization right now because Todd Gurley is somewhat in doubt. And there are a lot of people that believe that within that organization that Jared Goff can win football games on his own. Now, obviously, we saw the antithesis of that in the Super Bowl. I'm not really going to get into that. Again, Dak Prescott. People are saying, well, he is being devalued by the Dallas Cowboys for Zeke Elliott. How is Zeke Elliott devaluing what Dak Prescott means to the Dallas Cowboys? Isn't Prescott responsible for himself? Isn't Elliott? Isn't Goff? Isn't Gurley? Gurley was the highest paid running back in the NFL. Now it's Zeke Elliott. You see, the window and the ceiling for De Niro, it gets a little bigger, it gets a little higher every time somebody comes in and performs at a high level. You see, Gurley wouldn't have got the money that he did if he wasn't performing at a high level. I think that Jared Goff found himself in the right situation, but here's the point of what I'm saying. These guys are what they're valued at for their organization. Jared Goff isn't making this kind of money sitting behind Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, or even if he's the starter right now for, let's say, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's say Jameis Winston was already out of there and he's the starter. Whatever he is with the Miami Dolphins right now. Because really when you look at the core team that is around Jared Goff, he's in the best situation there is in all of football, really. You could argue maybe with Zeke Elliott in that offensive line, but Jared Goff as a whole, phenomenal defense, pretty good core receivers, exceptional running back, has literally hardly any pressure on him at all, one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. You have to look at it and go, other than maybe Tom Brady, who's in a better position in the NFL than Jared Goff? But even then, what he's paid is what he's worth to that organization, i.e. jersey sales, ticket sales, who they're coming to see, wins, getting to the Super Bowl. Folks, stats are like the last thing anybody looks at. I don't know how to break that to you guys because so many of you are enamored with fantasy sports, and so you think that everybody thinks like you, but they don't. They're going to look at game film. They're going to look at practice sheets. They're going to look at, these guys go through psychological exams. Look at the NFL Combine. Man, the different reps that you have to do, the different runs and hurdles and jumps and bench presses and deadlifts. I mean, come on. Stats is just a case in point for most guys. Now, I will give Goff this credit. And the credit is that a couple of years ago, they didn't want to play for the quarterback that they had, and they wanted to play for Jared Goff, which tells me that the one quality that, again, is not on paper for him is leadership. Being able to keep a locker room together is a huge deal as a quarterback. So believe me when I tell you that as much as I would love to give McVay all the credit and just say, boom, here it is, the real reality of it is what he's valued to the organization at this moment. But would it change if he was somewhere else, Miami, Buffalo? Then, of course, it's all predicated upon capability. What about Zeke Elliott? What about any player for that matter? When Steph Curry very first got the $200 million contract, I'll never forget, I told people it is more than what he just does on a court. He gets into the playoffs year after year after year, which means there's more TV money, which means there's more bonuses. So that's a huge deal because now they're in the playoffs. That means there's more ticket sales. There's more jersey sales. There's more sponsorship money. Same thing with James Harden. After $200 million for Steph Curry, James Harden was able to fashion himself $30 extra million, $230 mil. Right? So the ceiling goes up for what each guy is capable of that's before him, and the next guy that's either there around the same time or after him that's doing similar things. What about Saquon Barkley? In 2 or 3 years, if Saquon Barkley is producing the same kind of numbers that he's doing right now, he's going to make more money than Zeke Elliott. Why? Because Zeke Elliott paved the way for him, who was paved the way by Gurley, who was paved the way. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand here how this works? Nobody's devalued. The quarterback position is not a higher. It's always been the position, right? It's always been the position. But to say the running back position is obsolete, get real. That also bothers me, and I've talked about that before. Le'Veon Bell, Zeke Elliott, Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, Frank Gore. You're going to sit there and tell me that running backs have no bearing on who wins football games anymore? Look at college football right now. I've talked about this already this week. I saw 7 or 8 teams in the opening week, basically, for college football that I watched, and I said, wow, they have a phenomenal running game. They have a solid defense. And in most cases, that will be enough to be able to stretch out the defense a little bit more, teams that can prove they can do that, and they will be able to win football games hands down. People always say, well, passing leagues, blah, 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 blah. When you look at college football, the SEC is a run-first league. And who has the most titles in the last 20 years? I'll wait. Was it LSU twice? LSU played for 3 of them. Alabama's played for how many over the last, 10 years? Texas had Vince Young years ago in the Big 12, and they throw the football a lot, but Vince, we all know this, won that football game with his legs. You look at James Starks and how he came on for the Green Bay Packers. They ran the football in the playoffs. That was what got them to where they wanted to go. Of course, Aaron Rodgers played phenomenal in that Super Bowl. His only incompletions were drop passes. But the point of what I'm saying is anybody who knows the game of football knows that the run game has to get you there, period. I guarantee you what the Giants were trying to do this year was take pressure off of Eli, run that football down everybody's throat, because they opened up a lot of cap space when they found a way to trade Odell Beckham Jr. When they did that, they were able to kind of get a core group of guys that looked good. Now, the receiving core, a couple of injuries, and then, of course, you had a suspension. The point is they were, almost playing money ball in a lot of ways. They were figuring on that defense, that running game to get you where you want to go, power it out, and let the experience of Eli in certain situations take control. Nobody's devalued at anything. That is so nonsense. You're going to tell me that Jerry Jones, the guy who's been behind Dak Prescott this whole time, devalued him the moment that he gave Ezekiel Elliott exactly what he wanted? In the eyes of the fans and journalists who just need some sort of, angle that they've got to take, yeah, sure. I went to school for mass communications. I know all the tricks about angles. But it's just nonsense. Dak and Zeke go hand in hand. Do you know that? And probably Goff and Gurley go hand in hand, to be honest with you. The Chargers and the Melvin Gordon situation is completely different because he consistently gets hurt. So does Gurley, but the Rams still sought fit to, we believe that this guy can get healthy. The Chargers obviously don't believe that Melvin Gordon can get healthy. That's the difference. You understand? Nobody is being devalued. It's just not even logical to think about. It blows my mind. Guys, I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. And, of course, the Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.